I'm Miss Funerella and welcome to the Badass Pagan Witch series. This is episode 5. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, you can check them out here. And we left off with High Queen Morgana's The Third Death. The daughter's adventure starts with a dog dealer and she very fittingly gets a dog. I say very fittingly because she kind of reminds me of a dog. But anyway, we named the dog Sherlock. The second order of business is continuing this war that my mother started, although technically the Queen of Scotland, okay, somebody else started it, whatever. Point is, we need to finish it. It is not going that well right now, but that's okay because I have a plan, I have a dog. And I'm gonna pet the dog and stay calm. This is the beginning of an epically long war, but we could do it. I believe in us. As we're about to win a battle, my shaman is being kind of a bitch to me and I have to put her in her place. It earns me some dread and costs me some piety, but I've asserted my dominance and then we win the next battle. Hooray! Then I go to visit a friend and realize she's poor, so I give her some money because I'm kind like that. We lay siege, deal with some white plague shenanigans, and we win our next battle, which means that we finally up our war score a little bit, get into the green, and it just makes me feel very, very good. And true to human nature, some of us get accused of causing the white plague because we're witches. Lovely, charming, delicious. Love it. I put the accuser in his place and we move on. While I am laying siege, Sherlock, my lovely dog, is charming everyone around her. In the meantime, we lose a battle, we win a battle, and we still have a positive war score, but only just barely. We laid 2 more sieges to up the war score significantly before we got insulted. Coincidentally, Fopdoodle along with Rapscallion are my favorite swear words. Anyway, our war score is now 89%. We are nearly there. And while we're about to win our next battle, Sherlock is proving to be quite the troublemaker. Meanwhile, my rivalry is getting out of hand and I want to get back at my arch nemesis. So I spread nasty rumors about him like a schoolgirl. We lay siege one more time to get the war score up to 100 and then we enforce our demands. And I discovered that I can pet my dog! I can only do once in 5 years, but it's freaking adorable. I then find out that I am pregnant and I look absolutely disgusted. So I give my husband a little makeover to see if that helps. I then give myself a makeover and apparently I can choose to be naked. But I don't. I'm not a pervert. I then have my first child, a boy. I name him Oliver. He is my heir for now because he's my only child, but hopefully I will have more children and some of them will be girls. When me and my hubby are out shopping, I see him looking at some stuff and buy jewelry for him. Always the best for my loved ones. It works because he wants to be a good husband and help me out with my kingdom. But I choose to seduce him and make him my lover. Again, I find out I'm pregnant and again I look extremely angry. But apparently I have angry resting face. My dog joins a council meeting and growls at all the right people. I'm very proud of her. I give birth to a daughter and finally have an heir, and I name her Morgana. Things between me and my husband are going swimmingly, so you know what that means. This guy falls in love with me and I sleep with him because I can. And because this is CK3, of course, I get pregnant. I get invited to hunt and there are many, many dangers, like on the way there, and there. And eventually, on the way back home, I end up giving birth. So, very eventful. Then the husband of my dead friend wants to seduce me, and seeing how it would bring me stress, I decline. I wake with a beating heart, I should hope so, and the remnants of a fire smoldering in my loins. But I ignore it. Let's stay focused. I uncover that I can actually change my name, because my initial plan was to have every queen called Morgana, but I sometimes, you know, in the haste of things, you lose track of who's the heir, you just, you know, click OK, you move on. So I changed my name, and I take that moment also to check out the beautiful family tree. And again, I look like a sourpuss when I find out that I'm with child again. Seriously, it's like a lemon peed on my face. I give birth to a beautiful baby boy, but I forgot to drink some Red Bull right before, and it turns out that it takes a little bit longer for me to recover. Luckily, my doctor can give me something and it alleviates my symptoms and takes away the worst of it. It works and I am healed. My husband and I have a good relationship and I am pregnant again. Again, it is a boy. I marry off some of my children for prestige but also alliances. And I also educate my kids. I sometimes forget to do that. A little bit too focused on sleeping around and fighting. Oh, Jesus Christ, this woman is single-handedly turning the family tree into a forest. I'm feeling eager to expand my territory, so I invite some claimants in the hopes that we can move things along. We name our baby after me, such an honor, and I marry off some of my kiddos again. I get a sensual proposal, but it is by a man whose appearance is not that comely, so I change it. I change his appearance at a barbershop so that he looks more attractive and so that I can sleep with him. Oh, I love this game. Now, I don't know if this is related to my little affair, but then my husband tells me I smell. So there. It is kind of cute though, because me and my husband go on a hunt for some nice scents that I can use to mask my natural odor. It gives me the item of Morgana's perfume, and it makes my husband like me even more, if that's even possible. I pop out a baby, and I let a small village starve. All in a day's work. In the meantime, I'm checking out the Queen of Wales or some sort of area around there, yeah. And my plan is to get very close to kidnapping her. Actually, so close that I'm actually kidnapping her and then murdering her just to see if I can. We get a notification that an empire collapsed and I am grateful. Then, very adorably, one of my friends writes me a poem and I treasure it forever. Now look at all these cool trinkets that I've collected. I'm actually quite pleased with all of this. I think this is a really interesting aspect of the game. I like it. Again, I look pissed off that I'm pregnant, and we do some sneaky evil experimentation on one of our people and create some sort of poison. It's all ethical, I swear. And since I'm putting the ick in ethical, I decide to kidnap a queen. This pop-up always makes me nervous, but I think in this case it just means that, you know, we have a ratatouille and he doesn't want us to know that there's a rat helping him cook. I think that's what's going on. Now, this is my first time attempting to kidnap someone, I think, and so far the odds are in my favor, but you never know what happens. So I make sure that it goes well, and I may bribe a few people, get some people involved, and hope that it goes well. And then the moment of truth. We've got an 85% chance and we succeed. Yay! Now, since we have her and she's at our mercy, we decide to execute her because why not? It is my executive decision. Then my honey wants some money and I give it to him. Then I consider making a exchange and giving the Queen of England a hostage, even though it pains me, just to maintain the peace for a little while longer because, yeah, she's about to destroy me otherwise. Okay, we need to unpause. Okay. Middlesex. He giggity. I would be happy to take your son as my hostage. Great, 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 great. Oh. But it doesn't go according to plan. No! You bitch! You mother fluffing bitch. And so the fight for Galloway begins. It does not start that well. Again, she has way more people than I do. But I give it my stinking best. I even hire some extra mercenaries. But as you can see, the welcome committee is quite large. And as you can see, as soon as I attack one little army, the rest all joins and we lose. And just like that, my arch nemesis takes Galloway. Now, just like me, you're probably despairing, right? You're crying in a corner and hoping it all ends, but you are in for a treat. There is so much stuff that is about to happen, and it is epic. So let's continue. Now, the woman whose murder I was plotting because she started a faction against me is actually imprisoned because of this war that I just lost, which is really the only good thing that's come from it. Now, I really want to get a move on and claim some more land because I want to, you know, rule Britannia. So I'm just looking at my next target once we are out of debt. My murder scheme continues. The woman is released from jail, whatever. Anyway, I succeed, so she dies. And it makes me extremely, extremely happy. I do love surprise visits. Yes, I do. Look at the fear in her eyes. There you go, you bitch. Beautiful. And now that I have blood on my hands, I realize that red is a beautiful color. And I decide to murder the Queen of England. I know it won't be easy, but you know, I want revenge. Now, apparently I'm a bit spread thin with 3 husbands. That is not a dirty pun, that is just the truth. So I have to unlover one of them so that I can have some breathing room. When I check on how the scheme is going, for some reason the queen is bare-chested, which I don't know why, but it was interesting. When I clicked on her profile, the same thing still happened. It was really funny, but apparently it happens during tournaments. These are wild tournaments. My best friend dies from a wound and it makes me really, really stressed. Then the moment of the truth, and I can kill the queen. I have a high success chance and it works and I'm so happy. Oh my god, I'm dancing on her grave, but it is known that I did it, so I do, you know, suffer a tiny little bit from that, but that's okay. It was so worth it. Finally, she is dead. There is a vassal of the queen who swears revenge to me, so I do the only logical thing. I also plot her death. One of the Welsh leaders tries to start a war with me. Well, he starts a war with me, but he doesn't get what he wants. I defeat him and squash him like a bug. And then I focus on what is most important because I realize that somehow, some way, Scotland has started to exist again. And I don't know how, but there it is. And I want some of it, so I start a war. One of my husbands wants to become my lover in the meantime, and I say, why not? I mean, I could use some exercise. I win the war, and now, slowly but steadily, we are gaining more land, and a big chunk of Scotland is now mine. But we are not done. I execute my prisoners, and I especially cannot resist executing a queen because that just sounds really fancy-dancy. She's from Spain or France or somewhere near France, and I consider at first also maybe ransoming her, but it's just way more fun to execute. Does that decision later on bite me in the ass a little bit? Maybe. Again, I have to let a lover go because it is just too much hassle, but I don't, so I gain a little bit of stress. I then bestow a sword that increases prowess to my best knight. And since I'm stressed, I make one of my relatives my jester. And I kinda wish you could do that in real life. Again, that wee Welsh bastard starts a war and I do not care for it. Of course I win, but he pisses me off so much that I then decide to immediately declare war on him. While that war is in progress, my heir gets murdered by Ricarda, who, when I look into it, happens to be the daughter of the queen that I executed. And so I respond in kind. Then I win myself a handy dandy war and gain more land. And because that leader pissed me off, that petty king, I also decide to murder him. Apparently that's what I do now. Then my son dies under mysterious circumstances. I got a notification that somebody was plotting against him, and I had my spy master on it, but yeah, it apparently didn't do their job properly, so another one bites the dust. Anyway, we take over the rest of Wales because I want to, and there we go. Now our territory is really expanding, and hopefully we can get ready soon to take over England as well. Some Scottish peasants rise up in defiance and start a little war, and another child of mine bites the dust. this one gets torn apart by bulls. Anyway, we win the war, hooray! And again, I need to give up another lover. Now, I start another war for another big chunk of Scotland because the king is already in a war and I kind of want to seize my moment, even if it means breaking the truce. It is worth it because it works. Unfortunately, one of the English queen's vassals starts a little tiny mini war with me over some piece of land that I have just recently won and I do not care for it. But now we have to take out that fire. Other than more land and more glory, I also gain typhus. Do not care for it, and it also does not care for me, and I am at death's door. Knock knock, I'm dead. If you have made it all the way to the end, here's your invisible free cookie. Thank you so much for the support, and stay tuned for the next episode where things get extra spicy.